ready for some football. I don't know about you. Who else could it be but your man Lou? Yeah.
The LouieTeeNetwork is powered by MusicHead University. MusicHeads, classes in session. Turn me up. Enroll on YouTube now. Link is in the description.
Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T? Welcome to Thursday Night Football overtime. Ravens hosting the Bengals, AFC North family business. If these two teams said they ain't did it, then they ain't did it. But if they did, well, that's family business. We had built this thing up to be a hell of a ball game that was going to kick off a primetime slate of Week 11 games that was going to be bonkers. Let's hope that this was not a precursor of things to come for the remaining slate of primetime games this week. We've really been spoiled of the last 3 weeks or so. I think 2 out of the 3 games have been good each of the last 3 weeks. Even last week's Thursday night game, it was garbage, 2 trash teams, but it still was close, right? You still were at the end of the game watching to see if, a team was going to get a stop or score a touchdown, whatever the case may be. Sunday night was good last week. Again, not the 2 of the best teams, but good defensive struggle, close at the end, with the Jets and the Raiders. And then the Monday night game was really good. Broncos and Bills came down to a walk-off field goal, right? With a little bit of drama mixed in. All 3 of those games were close. All 3 of those games went down to the, last minute of the game. The week prior, same thing. Tennessee and Pittsburgh, really good Thursday night game to kick it off. And then you just go down the line. But this one lost a lot of its luster with the injury to Joe Burrow. And, what's really crazy is I don't know if you could have found any one individual that would have had an AFC playoffs without Cincinnati and Buffalo in it. Maybe one or the other. I mean, who had Buffalo not making the playoffs before the season? Cincinnati, all right, some things go wrong. Joe Burrow's calf probably scared a number of people prior to the season. So, maybe you didn't have Cincinnati in the playoffs, but you definitely have Buffalo in the playoffs. There could be an AFC playoffs this year without Joe Burrow and without Josh Allen. That is looking more and more realistic as each day passes. With this injury here to Joe Burrow, and I'm going to tell you, I always fancy myself as a body language reader, right? That's I can't just do things normally. That's the psychology side of me taking over and wanting to be over analytical all the damn time. But looking at him talk to his teammates after half, he was talking to Sam Hubbard and he asked him, what's good? What's going on? And he's talking to him and it didn't look good. He was explaining to him what the situation was. And, I don't know if it's something that he's going to be definitively out for like 6 to 8 weeks. My guess, and look, I didn't sleep at a Holiday Inn last night. I'm no doctor. Leave it to the social media doctors that'll pop up here in the next 30 to 40 minutes, who will all have a diagnosis for Joe Burrow. Tell you exactly what it is. I'm just going to tell you, I think it has something to do with a pinched nerve. That's my guess. He pinched a nerve. And, they call it a stinger. I don't think it's a stinger. I think there's some kind of nerve damage there. And now you just got to wait for it to heal. And the bad thing that sucks with pinched nerves, you just don't know. Your shit might not work for 2 months. And then magically, it's firing again, right? It might not work for 4 days. And then it feels a lot better. Generally, with these types of injuries, you just got to wait. And that's the thing that sucks is you don't really have time if you're Cincinnati sitting here at 5-5. That's why the loss last week to Houston at home was so big, because even if you lose tonight, you lose Burrow, you lose tonight, and let's say he's out for 3 weeks, you're 6-4. with the loss tonight, you're 6-4. And let's say you don't win any of the games with Burrow out, and he comes back and you're 6-7. You're still right there. And you're going to have to get on your horse, and you're going to have to probably win 3 straight to get to 10-7, but you're still right there. Now you're at 5-5, and if he can't play for the next 3 weeks, you're toast. You're done. So I saw him talking to Lamar at the end of the game, and then he talked to Patrick Queen, his LSU teammate, who he won a national championship with in 2019, and he shook his head like, nah, bro, this shit ain't good. Like, so the body language is telling me that it's significant. It's not something that, he'll be back in a week or two, like this little this pseudo bye that they're on with the 10 days. This isn't going to be enough to get him back in the lineup. I don't think. Again, I don't know that for certain. But they're in trouble either way, because whatever it is, he's not right. He didn't even get hit on that particular play. And that's what leads me to believe it's something like a pinched nerve or something, because you saw that he had some kind of contraption on his hand when, they showed him getting off the plane or whatever. And so there was already clearly something bothering him there already before the game. Now, to what extent? But whatever it was, it definitely flared up. It could be something with his elbow. Remember, your nerve endings end at your hand, right? Your fingers. But that shit goes all the way up to your neck, right? So that might explain why he couldn't raise his arm, but this far, and he couldn't grip. If you've ever hit your elbow, your funny bone, you can't grip sometimes. You get like to this point right here, you can't even fully grip it, right? He's got, I think it's some nerve issues. That's my guess. Again, I'm no doctor, and I didn't sleep at a Holiday Inn last night, but it's not good for the Bengals. We'll come back to them. To the victors go the spoils, as you guys know here on this program. We'll start with the Baltimore Ravens. They're now 8-3 on the season. This is a big win for them because I feel like this puts Cincinnati in the rearview mirror. They swept them this season. They're now 5-5. I think they're out of the mix now. So now it's a 3-team race, big one with the Steelers and the Browns this weekend with the Deshaun Watson news. That all but rules out the Cleveland Browns, if you ask me. And I won't close the book on them because of their defense, but you're only going to go so far with the rookie who they're going to start in Dorian Thompson-Robinson, or you're only going to go so far with P.J. Walker. They're not turning back to P.J. Walker because he sucked. They just won games because of their defense. So they're going to give the rookie another shot, hoping that he can give them a spark offensively and play a lot better than he did the last time he trotted out there against an AFC North opponent. Coincidentally enough, these Ravens took care of DTR the first time he saw the field in the NFL. So we'll see what happens there. But going to 8-3, kind of creating distance between you and Cincinnati, and I think putting the final nail in their coffin. And then knowing that Cleveland is in trouble with no Watson for the remainder of the season, you feel like you're in a really good spot if you're Baltimore, right? I know a lot of people are going to be like going crazy over the Ravens. I still have my doubts. I've got a little apprehension that Mark Andrews' injury scares the shit out of me. Okay. I'm glad he was able to get up and walk off. They said he ended up, being on crutches, not putting any weight on it later on. So it's a significant injury. How significant? My guess is high ankle sprain. That's the worst you can have. Now, what grade is it of a sprain? He's going to be out for a while, but the good thing is, hopefully, it's not broken. Sometimes a break is better than a high ankle sprain. If you get a grade 3 sprain on a high ankle sprain, that you rather break your shit and just let it fully heal. That shit is the worst. So we'll see what the diagnosis is on Mark Andrews. He's such a huge part of this offense. You saw what happened to this offense when he first left. Lamar started out guns a-blazing, right down the field, touchdown, and then the next 2 possessions, he's 1 of 5 for like 8 yards, and I think they were -4 yards because he got sacked twice. All right, so shit changes drastically when he's not in the lineup. Now, here's the difference between this year's Ravens and previous year's Ravens One, okay, I like Todd Monken. I like what he's doing. I like the diversity of this offense. That's the first thing. But two, there's so many more weapons on this team than ever before. You know, this is the first time Lamar's been surrounded by a cast like this. And again, I don't know if it's going to make a difference come playoff time or not. That's the key with Lamar. We've seen this before. You know, and one, he's got to stay healthy. He didn't look, all that good after the tackle by Logan Wilson over on the sideline. He didn't look himself after that. So the key for them is he's got to stay healthy. If he doesn't, all of this shit goes to hell in a handbasket. We've seen that each of the last 2 years. 3 if you count the playoff game against Buffalo that he didn't finish. So you don't really know how all of this is going to go. But I just love the weapons that they've surrounded him with. You know, and they Kirk Herbstreit kind of laid it out for you, and that's what I've been saying is he's never seen this much talent around him. From Odell Beckham Jr. to Bateman to Zay Flowers, who I think is the X factor. Zay Flowers, to me, is the guy that should scare you the most of this group. And then you kind of forget about Beckham, and then he can get you too, like he did tonight. Like, I think he scored his first touchdown of the season last week. So Beckham's an afterthought right now. He can even get better as this season progresses and he gets even more comfortable, and him and Lamar get on, on the same page and even more in tune with one another. They can become an even bigger problem. But to me, Zay Flowers is the one you got to watch right now. He's the guy that Lamar's looking to when he's not looking for Andrews. He's looking for Zay Flowers, and that guy is really turning into a dynamic playmaker. But again, Flowers, Beckham, Bateman, Nelson Aguilar, right? Devin Duvernay, and we don't even talk about guys like Duvernay or anybody else because you don't need to get past those 4. When you add in Andrews and Isaiah Likely at the tight end position, when you add in Justice Hill and Gus Edwards and Keaton Mitchell at the running back position, you don't even need to go past the 4 receivers. They've got so many weapons for Lamar. This is the best supporting cast they've put around him in his career. So that can even offset an injury like Mark Andrews, right? And you saw that tonight. Other guys stepped up in his absence, and the party just kept on going. So from that standpoint, this is an impressive group here in Baltimore, and it could be different. But I'm still a little apprehensive because to me, if Joe Burrow doesn't get hurt, the Bengals are going to win this game because everything changed on that injury. And I thought Herbstreit said it best. I mean, Kirk's been killing this shit this year, but we already know he's capable of killing it, watching college football and his coverage. But I was wondering how he was going to transition to the NFL. And these first 2 years of him being on Amazon Prime, he's been spectacular. That said, he said that it's not just going to impact the offense. It's also going to impact the defense because that's just as debilitating for them on that side of the ball as it is for the offense. Because, on the offense, I know Jamar Chase was like, man, what the, bro? We was just getting in sync. I was just getting my shit together, and now this shit happens, and this dude wants to come in, and he wants his first 10 passes to be to Trent Irwin. Like, this is some bullshit, man. But when you have your quarterback go out, it changes what you feel like you can give up defensively. If that makes any sense. There's a different level of urgency defensively, which may cause you to press, may cause your defensive coordinator to either be too passive because he doesn't want to give up anything or too aggressive. Either way, he's not himself. And you saw them defensively sort of break down in the second half. But Baltimore, here's the beauty of what the Ravens can do offensively. They can run it. And when they've got that going, they're tough to stop. But they can throw it, right? And offensively, I still don't think they've even hit their stride yet. I still think they're working out some of the kinks. Some of these games where they've had blowouts, the offense hasn't been super dynamic. They've just kind of played really good complementary ball. So I don't even know if we've seen them hit their stride yet. They're still a work in progress, I feel like, 11 games in now. With their defense, they've been really good, but they've had their moments where they haven't been great this season. Obviously, last week, they had opportunities to put the lid on the game, and they couldn't do it defensively. So I worry about them defensively sometimes. I know they're playing really well, and you look at their statistics and all of this and that. I've said this, and this is another thing that troubles me with Baltimore. The fourth quarter has been a problem for them, and I said that they should be 11-0 right now. They shouldn't have a blemish on them. If they would have taken care of business, they'd be 11-0 right now, but they didn't against Indianapolis. They didn't against the Browns last week. They didn't against the Steelers, a month ago or so, a month and a half ago, whatever it was. And so here they are, instead of being, 10-1, 11-0, they're 8-3. And that's not bad, but it gives me pause because I'm like, you get to the playoffs, you play somebody good, and, they don't flinch. Like, they jumped at the line, jumped at the Lions, and the Giants the Lions flinched, right? They cowered in the corner. And who'd they play the other week? That was a good team. It was another NFC team. They'd be beating the hell out of NFC teams. Who was it? Damn it, man. I thought they jumped another NFC team. Maybe I'm tripping. I can't think of anybody else that's actually really good in the NFC. But they jumped another good team too. They beat the brakes off of two good teams. And we were sitting here talking about Seattle. That's who it was. Seattle. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Casper the Barbarian. It was Seattle. And I ain't even that hype on Seattle, but still. Seattle, we thought it would be a better game than that. And they beat the brakes off of Seattle, right? But I want to see what happens. And I think they got some games. Let me check and see. But I think they got some games here coming up where we're going to put some bullies in front of them, some real competition. And I want to see what happens. It's one thing to play a team that in your division. And even when they've done that this year, they've lost. 2 of their 3 losses have come in the division this year. The only team that they have beaten in the division is this Cincinnati Bengals team. And they were lucky to get past them the first time with a compromised Joe Burrow. So while I like what the Ravens are doing, I'm not sold as them being the best team in the AFC or even in the league. Looking at the rest of their schedule, Chargers, Rams. I mean, look, this isn't like they don't get tested again. I don't think. Like the Chargers on the road, okay, it'll be interesting to see what Justin Herbert does. But nobody's worried about the Chargers. Rams are going to beat them up. Jags, we'll see with the Jags. You don't really know which Jacksonville Jaguars team is going to show up. We won't really get a full test for them until this 49ers game on a Monday night, the day after Christmas. That's when we'll really be able to assess what the hell these Ravens are really truly up to. You know what I mean? And then you get the Dolphins after that, then the Steelers again. So they'll finish, and we'll see if they need all of these games. They may not need all of these games. They'll have the division if things continue in the direction that it's trending. They'll have this division wrapped up, especially if the Steelers don't win this weekend. If the Steelers take care of the Browns, then they might have to fight for this division. I don't know how the hell the Steelers could possibly be 7-3 after Sunday's game if they win, but that's what they could be. It's crazy, and this is why you never doubt Mike Tomlin. But I digress. We're going to find out a lot about them in that game, I think. If the 49ers are right, they got to be healthy. We've seen what they look like when they're not healthy. So we'll find out a little bit more about these Ravens as the season progresses. But I can tell you this right now. I'm impressed with the weapons that they've surrounded Lamar with. I'm impressed with this defense. And remember, they don't even have all their defensive stuff. They got guys out, mainly their star cornerback, Marlon Humphrey. So when they get back to full mass on both sides of the football, they look like a team that you're going to have to deal with. If my guess right now is, and how I feel is, they'll replace Buffalo in the pantheon of playoff teams, meaning I don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl. But if you catch them on the wrong week, they could end your season. Because I don't. Maybe they replace Cincinnati because Cincinnati was the chief rival of the Chiefs, and at any moment's notice, Cincinnati was fully capable of beating Kansas City, whether the game was in KC or in Cincinnati. They were fully capable of beating the Chiefs and going to the Super Bowl. But I can't give them that. This is why I say that they're going to replace Buffalo, because Josh Allen's been solid in the playoffs, but I really don't, I can't say that Josh Allen is capable of taking his team to the Super Bowl because he's never done it. Lamar Jackson's only won one playoff game. So it's hard for me to just go out on a limb and say, hey, this is the year. It could be. I'm rooting like hell for him. If you tell me my team's not in it and I got to root for somebody, I'm rooting like hell for Lamar Jackson. But we'll see what happens. This defense is really good. I still don't know if they've got a pass rusher, though. Like, I feel like I always ask the same questions with Baltimore. Do you have enough pass rush to get to the quarterback to affect good teams? I still don't think the answer is yes right now. We'll see. I just felt like if Burrow was out there, he would have carved those boys up. He was 11 of 17 for 100 yards and a touchdown. He seemed pretty comfortable back there. He was moving around well. They weren't really getting to him. They did sack him twice, right? But it wasn't like immediate pressure. There was that one sack by the rookie where he beat the guard inside. That was pretty much immediate pressure. But the Jadeveon Clowney one wasn't immediate pressure. He just didn't have anywhere to go with the football. I still wonder if they can get to the quarterback without blitzing. And I don't think they can consistently. But we know their special teams is good. We know their offense is good. We know their defense is good. They're good. That's why they're 8-3 and have the best record in football. Best record in the AFC right now. We'll see what happens with the Chiefs, obviously, on Monday night. But for Cincinnati, bitter pill to swallow. After overcoming the Burrow injury that kind of slowed your start to the season, you reeled off 4 straight, including a big win on the road at San Francisco that kind of announced to the league that we're back. You beat the Bills on a Sunday night, and all of a sudden, this team that was sort of an afterthought to start the season off is now all of a sudden buzzing, playing excellent football, 5-3, winners of 4 straight, looking like one of the best teams. And I talked about this after the Sunday night win against Buffalo. Hey, I'm not sure Cincinnati's not the best team in the AFC right now because of their history. This is a team that has shown before we can start slow, dig ourselves out of a hole, and not only get hot, but we can be one of the best teams in the league. We can make it to the Super Bowl. We've been to the AFC Championship each of the last 2 years. The pedigree is there. So everything kind of pointed to, here we go again. And then you go and you lose. And really, it started with T. Higgins getting hurt in that win against Buffalo. And he had a huge game that night. Doesn't play the following week against Houston. You lose that game. Tyler Boyd has the big drop late in the game. You lose that game, give up, 400 and some odd yards of offense, damn near 500 yards of total offense to the Texans. CJ Stroud carves you up. You give up 30, you lose. And you're thinking, okay, that's a tough loss, but you don't have time to sulk. Quick turnaround, Thursday night on the road. Got to have it. You've already lost to the Ravens once this season. Got to go to Baltimore and win. And I think they were poised to do it tonight. Burrow was locked in. Joe Mixon was getting off early. And the injury happens, and you knew it was all downhill from there. I didn't think the officials helped at all. Like, once Burrow got hurt, they were already at a stark disadvantage. The last thing they needed was the officiating crew to just decide you're not going to have a chance tonight. That drive before the half was the most important possession of the game because at that point, you're holding on for dear life with no Burrow, right? Like, this thing has a chance to fall apart at the seams. It's 17-13. You're fighting for your life. And they called 2 bogus-ass pass interference penalties. The second one, I mean, somebody needs to be docked pay for that. Like, these officials get away with murder. And this shit has to stop. Like, as a fan, I need to know that there's repercussions for these dudes effing up in that manner. That's egregious. I don't even know if he touched the receiver the entire route. Where's the flag? And that's not a 5-yard, illegal contact or a 5-yard holding penalty. That's a 37-yard pass interference penalty. Are you effing kidding me? Not to mention you just gave them one on the 3rd and 10. That was an uncatchable ball. What are we doing? So I've already said this. Adrian Hill and his crew have to be the worst in football right now. They got to be the worst. It used to be Jerome Boger. It's definitely Adrian Hill now. Why has it always got to be the brothers that F shit up? It's always got to be the brothers with their crews. Just effing shit up. Adrian Hill is terrible. He was the one that called the roughing the passer on KJ Henry last week. Like, what are you guys doing, man? Seriously. So I thought that drive before the half was just brutal because they're already reeling. Their quarterbacks already took off to the locker room to get examined, to figure out what the extent of the injury was. They don't really know what's going on. They know Jake Brown is going to be in probably for the rest of the game. So mentally, they can't afford to give up anything before the half. First of all, their punter, I thought he was awful tonight. I don't know who this guy is, but he's kicking line drives, including the one before half. Like, bro, you can't kick that football into the end zone. That changes everything. If you kick the ball and it's fair caught at the 8, or he lets it go, it dies at the 6, and they down it at the 4, or they down it at the 6, and they're back to it, changes their play calling. It changes how aggressive they're going to be. He just kicked the shit like on a line drive into the end zone. I'm like, bro, what the hell? So it started there, but then the officials took over. Like, all right, we got it from here. Don't worry about it. And it just bad call after bad call to make sure that this thing got into the end zone. And once they scored 24, I was like, well, this shit's over now. It's over. And that's the dam sort of broke at 24-13 going into half. And you know what? I think that's sort of a microcosm for your season because I think the season just broke at 5-5 with Burrow's health up in the air for the foreseeable future. You're not. I mean, let's take a look at what you've got coming down. And they made it. I don't recall what they said, but they made it seem as if it was a pretty steep and tall order ahead of you. Steelers, Jags, Colts, Vikings. I mean, it's not that damn bad. They made it seem like it was just, oh my God. But they did say everybody was at or above 500. But that shit don't make a difference. These teams don't. I mean, the Colts, they're at 500. Like, they're not afraid of the damn Colts. Vikings, they're not afraid of them. I mean, this schedule isn't impossible, but with no Joe Burrow, it's probably not going to be one that is favorable for you. But all in all, you're not winning shit without Joe Burrow. I don't have to tell you that. And like Herb Street said, it doesn't only impact the offense, the defense. You felt the air leave their sails as well. They started to have injuries too. Cam Taylor-Britt went down. That was costly. But Trey Hendrickson was already coming into the game. They didn't even know if he was going to play at first. He came in, he played well early. He had the hyperextended knee on the last play of the Texans game. Good to see him out there. But no Sam Hubbard tonight. So they were already undermanned on the defensive side of the football. And it felt like once they knew Burrow wasn't coming back, it kind of took the wind out of their sails. That touchdown before the half, which was just bogus because of the officials, really put them behind the 8 ball. If this is a 17-13 game with the Bengals getting the ball to start the second half, who knows what happens? Because even the drive that ended the first half, he moved the ball. And, they had a 4th and 3. If Trent Irwin holds on to the rock, they're going to get in the field goal range. Who knows? Maybe they score a touchdown, probably don't, but even a field goal there. And then I can't have my kicker missing kicks. And we know Shooter McGavin is usually Shooter McPherson is usually money. And something told me he was going to miss that kick from 53. I just, in my head, I said he's going to miss this kick. And he did. But it would have been nice. That was sort of like a swing there in momentum. Not getting that catch, having that overturn, and then turning around and having the officials burn you twice and then giving up the touchdown. That's almost like a 10-point swing. Because if Trent Irwin catches that football, they're pretty much in field goal range at that point. So it's just tough if you're Cincinnati because you fought so hard to put yourself in this position after the slow start, and to then see all of that hard work go up in smoke essentially these last 2 weeks, culminating in this Joe Burrow injury. That's pretty brutal. That's a rough go of it, and I don't see how you overcome this one, especially if this injury carries with it a significant amount of time, him being out. I can't see how you overcome this and still, make yourself a playoff team. That said, I struggle with how we got here with Cincinnati and Buffalo. It's crazy. Buffalo still has a chance. They fired a coordinator. Usually when you fire guys in season, shit's not going well. I don't know if it's going to go much better for them. But we'll see. All the Bills fans, or most of them, tell me that, yeah, this guy needed to be fired. He was the problem. Okay, we'll see. We'll see. And you might be right. And you might start scoring 35 points every week. Who knows? You might be absolutely spot on, and Joe Brady comes in and starts tearing shit up, and all of a sudden you're back on track. I doubt it, though. But we'll see. Anyway, let's get to the comment section. Ravens get it done 34. Let me get that football out of the way. Ravens get it done 34-20 and improve to 8-3 on the season, playing some excellent football. Right now, they look like a damn good football team. I really only got 2 questions. Can Lamar Jackson stay healthy? That's one. And number 2, what do you do when the playoffs hit? Because I've seen this from Baltimore before. Lamar Jackson's MVP season, he was tearing the league up. They were the number 1 seed in the AFC, and they get bounced in the divisional round in their first game by Tennessee in 2019. So I just need to see it. Right? I just need visual proof that you can get it done when it matters most. So we'll see what happens. Anyway. Big Money Sonny, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, my guy. Big Money Sonny. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Writes, Lou, you're going on the big screen, homie. Hey, I appreciate it, man. This game was cheeks. I want my 3 hours back. If/when we lose to the Giants, does Ron get fired after Turkey Day? Let me get an NHL, Lou. Let me see if I got one queued up for you, man. Let me see if I got it. I think you forced me to do it the last time, so it should be here, but you just never know sometimes. Yep, got one right here queued up. New how order. There you go. If they lose to the Giants, he might be fired before the Thanksgiving game. It'd have to be after Thanksgiving. I think you're right, because it's a quick turnaround. You can't afford to fire him and ask EB or whoever you promote, the interim head coach, to get the team ready in a game in a game 4 days later. For a game 4 days later, rather. So yeah, I think it would have to be after the Dallas game, which is dicey because if you wait and then they go get a big win against Dallas, can you fire him then? Right? So you lose to the Giants, I think you need to be fired immediately. But it's complicated because of the nature of the next game, right? And the closeness. This game was cheeks after Burrow's injury. So really, the first half was competitive. It was fun. It looked like it was leading up to a really good game. And then once he got injured, and then they scored the touchdown before the half, it kind of felt like, okay, this thing is over. And it was. I was disappointed. I'm not going to lie to you. I was really locked in, ready for this excellent contest. And then I got what I got in the second half. Big Money Sonny, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes? Let's get that double up NHO, Lou. All right, let's do it again, man. New how order. Shout out to Joe Rockhead for sipping on some whiskey and cranking that mild that Mike. That's supposed to be Mike. Mike Jones. Who? Mike Jones. Oh man. Big Money Sonny been a member for 26 months. Writes, Lou, loan me $500, bro. I should be asking you for $500. You Big Money Sonny, not me. You the baller. Let me get a pair of kicks. Hook me up. I know you got a size 11, 11 and a half, 12, somewhere in there, man. Let me get a pair. Big Money Sonny, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy, Big Money Sonny writes, Herb Street is legit. Always has been. Let's get another NHL, Lou. Hey.
New how order.
Says, hate to look past the Giants, but it looks like an L. Let's get that the dub on Dallas. I'm looking past the Giants. Again, I have zero respect for them. And, you know, the sad part about the Giants is they've beaten us. They own us right now, it feels like. And I don't even have an energy for them like I did. Like at the beginning of the season, I wanted to bust their shit twice to the white meat show. And I had that same energy for them the first game, and then we lost, and I was mad as hell. If we lose to them again, I don't even give a shit. If we lose, I'm like, okay, fine. That expedites the process of Ron getting canned. Like, if you can't beat the Giants, you deserve to be fired on the spot. It's not that like the energy for the Giants ain't there right now. Because it doesn't really move the needle. The only thing that I'm looking for in this game is the continued growth of this offense. Sam leading the way, EB cleaning up some of the issues we had the first time we played this Giants team. And I want to see the growth from Sam. This is his final test. I called it a standardized one against the Blitz. We're going to see some aggressive teams as we move forward, but no one's going to be more aggressive. No one in the league blitzes more than Wink Martindale. We saw the percentage the last time we played them, and it's not close. Nobody blitzes more than Wink Martindale. He's going to blitz the draws off of us on Sunday, and we better be ready. We better be ready. So that's all I'm really looking forward to is the offense and how they perform. This defense, I wouldn't be shocked if Danny DeVito has a field day on Sunday. Throws for 270, a touchdown or two, is running around, runs for 72 yards on, 9 carries. I wouldn't be shocked if they had a 370-yard day and they score some points against this raggedy-ass defense. But as bad as they are, I wouldn't be shocked that they made our defense feel like they were actually good again. Could go either way. What I don't see is us beating Dallas on Thanksgiving because I don't see this defense being good enough to stop a team like Dallas on offense. Mike Jank, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy, Mike Jank, writes, she another game up on me now, Big Lou, shaking my head. Joe, hey, man. Hey, don't let her get you, bro. Come on, man. Come on, Mike. And I don't know if Tiffany is one of those rub it in your face types. God forbid she is. If she is, bro, you might not ever hear the end of it. Hopefully she's just cool, mild mannered, like, it ain't even a big deal. But I'm just telling you, if she gets you, I'm not gonna let you live it down. I'm just gonna I'm gonna be real with you. I'm gonna give you the business. But I'm with you. I didn't see Joe going down, right? Who could have forecasted that? I really, truly believe the Bengals win this game with a healthy Joe Burrow. I got. And I'm not even mad about it, because injuries are a part of the game. They happen. I didn't see it happen, and it happened. So what can you do? And this is an easy week. So you're not going to have many more opportunities to get that loss back. That's the part that's frustrating about this Thursday night game is if you're on the wrong side of this, there aren't many opportunities. Most of these games this weekend are cut and dry. Everybody's going to be picking the same team, so you don't have a ton of opportunities to get your loss back, right? The Pittsburgh-Cleveland game is going to be an interesting one. Maybe Houston, Arizona for some. I think most people probably going Houston there. The Sunday night game will be interesting. I think that's going to be split between Denver and Minnesota. And then Kansas City, Philadelphia, I feel like is another one too. But, most of the games, Seattle and the Rams, and Jacksonville and Tennessee, yeah, they're family business matchups. Giants and Commanders, Panthers and Cowboys. Like, these are games that everybody's picking the same squad, right? So you're not going to have a lot of opportunities. Chargers and Packers. Nobody believes in the Green Bay Packers. So the opportunities to get your win back are going to be tough. You got to find a way to navigate through all of that and get your win back. I know you're going with the Eagles. That's probably going to give you a shot because I think most people are going to pick Kansas City. So that's going to give you a shot to get your dub back. But I don't know. I'm assuming Tiffany's probably picking I'm guessing. I can't say this with 100% certainty. But I'm assuming she's an Eagles fan too. So she's probably picking the Eagles in that game as well. But hey, chin up, man. Chin up. Chin up. Keep fighting over there, man. Abel Ambrosio. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy Abel writes, Mark Andrews is out for the season and NHL one time. No, don't say that to me, man. Let me
New how order.
I'm about to look it up right now. Don't say that to me. I don't see nothing right now, but that don't mean it ain't out there. Let me look it up on socials. I don't have my actual device next to me. Mark Andrews suffers serious ankle injury, likely to be season ending. Ouch. Yeah. Yikes. That's tough. That's a devastating blow. I mean, they can overcome it because in past years, this would have been a death blow and a death sentence to the Ravens. This year, with all the talent they have, they can overcome this. And Isaiah Likely is a guy that can step up in that role. And even Charlie Kohler can slide into that two-hole as the backup tight end. He was the third tight end. He can slide into that two-hole, and they'll be fine. Like, they can overcome this because of the talent at receiver, but it's still Mark Andrews. Like, he's the equivalent of Travis Kelce in that offense. The difference is the Chiefs don't have any receivers. So if Kelce goes down, they're done, right? We saw that in week 1 against Detroit. They don't have Travis Kelce. They're finished. They're cooked. The Ravens are in a similar spot from the standpoint of how important and how impactful he is in their offense. He's Lamar Jackson's security blanket. However, because they have a built-in cushion with the receivers that Kansas City doesn't have, they may be able to circumvent this injury. We'll see. That's still a tough, devastating blow, though. Wow. Big Money Sonny, thank you for that update, Abel. Big Money Sonny, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Big Money Sonny writes, another NHL. You know what it is.
New how order.
Says Sam better light the cheeks up on Sunday. Come on, EB, because Danny DeVito is going to light up or our trash defense. And that's all I'm looking for is that Sam go out there and because we know what's coming. We know that, like, the last time what made it so disappointing was we talked about it all week long. The pressure's coming. The pressure's coming. Be ready. You got to be ready. You got to prepare for the blitz. They're going to blitz. And it was like we were ill prepared. Like we didn't know what we were going up against. So I want to see what it looks like this second time around. Second time around. Dun, 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 dun. I want to see what it looks like second time around. Big Money Sonny, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Hope Door Gunner was listening and his dog was listening too. Big Money Sonny says, let's get them NHOs and likes up. Real talk, NHL and new ownership is the only reason why I'm feeling any type of hype for the future. Getting old, Lou. Aren't we all? Every year that passes, we get a year older and a year more jaded with the situation being what it is. That's why I said what I said at the beginning of the week, which was, let me just remind you guys of the state of this franchise. Like, I know the season hasn't gone the way we wanted it to, and it kind of puts a damper on a lot of things. But let's not forget about where we are. You know, what the situation is, what the future looks like, and adding Sam into that mix and accounting for what his role could potentially be moving forward. We're in a really good spot. And it's hard to see that now because you look at other teams and we're not playing winning football. You watch other teams win, and you're watching the Eagles continue to play excellent football. They're 8-1. And yeah, you're probably a little jealous, right? You look at the Cowboys and they're winning games. The defense is flying around. Dak is starting to play well, and their best receiver is getting off. And our guys over here struggling to get targets in the game. And yeah, it's frustrating. And so it can pull that morale down, right? Your spirits down. But just keep in mind where we were this time last year. Snyder was still the owner. We were on one of those false resurrections right about now, and we were getting excited about the prospects of making the playoffs before the rug was being pulled from under us, or as my guy Derek B likes to say, Lucy pulls the ball from under us as we go to kick it, and we fall flat on our backs, right? So think about where we were last year this time. Snyder's still the owner. Taylor Heineke is taking us on another one of these escapades that we know isn't going to last forever. We don't have a quarterback. We got a shitty owner, and nothing seems to be getting fixed. We're doing this Rivera song and dance all over again. The Rivera regime is about to come to a merciful end. We got ourselves a quarterback, and Daniel Snyder is no longer here. There's so much to be thankful for as we head into Thanksgiving next week. So much to be thankful for if you're a Commanders fan. So I feel good. Can't speak for anybody else out there, but I feel good. So let's get to the comment section. Knock out a few comments before we get out of here. And remember, if you're out there, you want your comment read, use hashtag LouieTLive to have your comment read on the air. Hank Midas says, Zach Taylor's play calling before Burrow's injury was on point, and Cincy linebacker group is what we need in Washington. I'll tell you this much. I've always been a massive fan of Wilson. I remember when he came out of Wyoming, I said, he's a poor man's Leighton Vander Esch. I think he's better than Leighton Vander Esch. He's everywhere on the field. Did you see him run down Odell Beckham Jr.? I know Odell stopped. He was running full speed. Odell stopped, reverse, field, change directions and all that. But that hustle, he's always around the football. Just that guy's something else. And when we talk about backers and combinations, him and Jermaine Pratt make a hell of a combination in Cincinnati. So that's another group where you go, that's a special group, Obviously, what the Jets have, CJ Mosley and Quincy Williams, that's what you're looking for, right? Ravens got Roquan Smith. That's what you're looking for. And Patrick Queen, that's what you're looking for. Ours doesn't look anything like that. It could, with proper coaching, Jamin Davis could be Patrick Queen. But you still need that middle linebacker. You still need that guy inside, that one dog, right? Anyway. Big Money Sonny. Oh. Let me see. Let me get to the comment section. Big Money Sonny, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Of course, my guy, Big Money Sonny writes, Mega said everyone isn't guaranteed to stay around after we clean house. For me, NHO stays, and I want EB to stick around too. Who else? Forget about contracts is a must keep. One more NHO, Lou. You got it.
New how order.
So who else must, like, so again, if you're building this thing, you got to have foundational pieces. foundational pieces are guys that you believe are players that not only represent the core values that you want to be instilled in your organization on the field, but off the field, right? So, and guys that can play at a high level, I think there are probably 7 or 8 guys that you go, hey, these are the guys that we need to bring with us. Defensively, I am a Kendall Fuller fan. Personally, I think he's one of those dudes that just gets it. And I've always said I think his career is one of those that could be, and again, I don't know like the knee situation and he has to take off Wednesdays. I don't know if there's any like shelf life on that knee or if it's just a precautionary measure that they take and he could play another 8-9 years. I don't know. But Kendall Fuller, I think he's only 28 years old or going to be turning 28 here shortly. Still a lot of good football, I think, left in him. And I think he could transition to safety. I've already made that abundantly clear. Kansas City even played him at safety when he was a member of the Chiefs when they won the Super Bowl back in 2019. So I really believe Kendall Fuller is a guy that I would like to keep around. He, I know a lot of people aren't really high on Juice right now. Juice is another guy. Look, his contract is going to be up after next year. So, like, you're not moving on from Juice, right? But if you're talking about long-term, like the next 3 years, like I want this guy to come with us the next 3 years. Kendall Fuller, Cam Curl. I think there's a place on the roster for Jamin Davis. I do. Jamin Davis and the Bama Wall, right? And then I like Ridgeway and Mathis is fine too, right? I got no problems with those 4 defensive tackles. I would clean house it, and you can't do that. The 2 rookies that are there, they'll probably be here next year, but they should not be starting. Neither one of them should be starting next year. You should have 2 new defensive ends, whether it's 1 from free agency and 1 from the draft, or 2 from free agency or 2 from the draft. Doesn't matter. You need to bolster that position. Offensively, so let's see. Fuller, Curl, Jamin Davis, Bama Wall, and I'll take the 2 backups behind them. So 7 guys defensively, offensively. But I don't have to have the 2 backups, right? But they're coming with me because they're young, right? Both of them were in last year's draft, so they are under contract for another 2 years. Cheap labor. Come on, you guys can come with me. Offensively, I'm looking at obviously the quarterback, Sam Howell, Sam Cosmi at guard. Chris Paul is, still young, still got 2 years left on his rookie contract. Why not? Even if nothing else, he's good depth. I would bring back Cornelius Lucas personally. I just like him as a swing tackle. And I think he's one of those dudes that, like, Ty and Seki, he could probably play for another 6-7 years as a swing tackle. So I'd bring him along. I would bring along John Bates. I think he is like the perfect TE3. I'm still intrigued by the tight end that got injured this offseason. So I'd love to bring him back, see what he's got going on. Armani Rogers. So I'd love to bring him along. And then obviously Terry, Jahan. I'd love to bring Curtis back if, the price is right. If not, you got to move on. So be it. But definitely Curtis or definitely Terry and Jahan for sure, right, of that group. So that's pretty much where I'm at. And then Brian Robinson, that's like I'm not attached to Antonio Gibson nor Chris Rodriguez. If you told me that B-Rob was the only one back, I'd be cool with that. I don't see anything special about Chris Rodriguez. Nothing. So that's pretty much my group. But, we'll see what happens. It'll be interesting to see what happens from a staff standpoint, because there could be a couple of positional coaches that they would like to keep around. For instance, if I'm not mistaken, our running backs coach that was here with the last group. I think I could be wrong about that, but I think Randy Jordan was here with the last group. So who knows? They may love Randy Jordan and want to keep him around again, right? Tavita Pritchard, I don't know. Maybe he's kept around. If EB's here, maybe he's like, yo, I want to bring, Tavita with me. I don't know. So we'll see about the staff. I think right now, my guess is all of it is gone. All of it is gone. Mike Jank, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, she's focused on J-Cam and Soul, not me, LOL. Her words. Wow, that's a wise woman, man. You know what she pretty much, but she just, so Mike, I'm gonna give you a little bit of a game. She just sunned you without sunning you, right? What she pretty much said is, bro, you behind me. I'm not looking at you, I'm looking past you. I'm not looking in the rear view. Okay. You can see me because you behind me, I can't see you. That's what she's saying to you. Like, I'm looking at the dudes that's in front of me, not somebody that's behind me. Why would I be worried about you, right? That was real subtle and clean disrespect. I love it. I love it. Hey, just off the strength of that alone, you got to make sure you finish in front of her, man. Shout out to Tiffany. Shout out to Tiffany, man. HTTC. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB who writes, hey, Lou, I'm on the West Coast in the biggest little city. How do I find a commander's partner from the DMV area? Sorry if the question threw you off. I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know how to answer that for you, man. I have no clue. How, good luck. That's all I can say to you, because again, you would own, the only way I could see you meeting someone, and I'm assuming this is what you're referring to, is that they got transplanted out there via the military. Other than that, good luck. I don't really know how else you run into somebody that's a fan of this team, and those are going to be, I don't know how old you are, but finding a young Commanders fan is getting harder and harder. With the hardships we've endured over the last 3 decades, it's becoming harder and harder to find a young Commanders fan. So I don't know how old you are, but good luck with that. Good luck with that. I was lucky enough to be able to convert my wife over, So Big Money Sonny, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Right. Tell HTTC that I'm out here in LA and to join the Discord. We rock out here too, homie. One more NHO.
New Howl Order.
So hey, it's people, and I don't know what kind of partner you're referring to. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what it is you're looking for exactly. If you're just looking for some people to kick it with that also share your love for the burgundy and gold, it's got to be plenty of people out there, because every time we make treks out that way, or we used to, people be showing up, right? So there's people out there. You just got to find them. But if you're looking for a special someone, good luck. Again, that's not the easiest thing to do, right? It's not the easiest thing to do when that city isn't the team. They don't have a team that you are rooting for, right? So it's a little bit tougher. Big Money Sonny, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, my guy. Big Money Sonny writes, how much bread we got going into the offseason? I know we have to get the management and coaching situation figured out. Do we make splash pickups? Last time I checked, it was supposed to be like 91 million, but it might even go up after the trades of Tez and Chase Young, because now neither one of them were going to be, on the books for next year anyway. So I don't think that even matters. Neither one of them were under contract next year. So anyway, last time I checked, I think it was something like $91 million. Could be more, could be a little less, but somewhere in that neighborhood. Do we make, it just depends on the GM, honestly speaking. You might get a GM that wants to come in here and kind of play money ball, where He's looking to maximize the 91 million, not spend it on 3 or 4 guys, but rather spend it on 7 or 8 dudes. That was the approach. If you remember when Ronald first got here, that was the approach that he and Smith took, right? Which was, hey, we gonna, instead of spending big on, remember Kendall Fuller's 4-year, $40 million contract was the biggest contract we handed out that 2020 offseason. It was J.D. McKissick. It was Logan Thomas. It was Cornelius Lucas. It was, again, all of these smaller contracts. Ronald Darby. Like, this is what they were doing. All right, that's how they were spending their bread. Like, they were rationing it out. Wes Schweitzer, like, this is what they were doing with that bread. So we went out and got like 8, 9 dudes. So I don't know that the GM could come in and do that, or he could come in and say, here's what we're going to do. And he can go out and spend some bread on 2 or 3 dudes that he deems to be difference makers, right? So we don't know. We don't know until we figure out who the new GM is, and then we can see where he came from, what the philosophical approach is there, because more likely than not, whatever the approach is there, that's the mentality he's probably going to come with here, right? So we won't know until that first hire is made. That's my guess. All right. Hank Midas, you said Zach Taylor's play calling was on point. It was, because he had the whole playbook at his disposal. With Joe out there, they couldn't be over aggressive. That's why the run game was working, because they had to play Joe in the pass. They couldn't be over aggressive, sell out on the run, and so they were getting torched. As soon as Joe left the game, that run game went to sleep. Night. And you knew that was going to happen, because then they had no respect for Jake Browning. None. No respect. All right. See if we got any more comments. Rich says, came out that Andrews likely out for the season with an ankle injury, and Burrow sprained his wrist. Well, we'll see, because he did have on a little brace, a little contraption on his wrist when he was getting off the plane, so it could have already been like a little sore. And then when he got hit by Jadeveon Clowney, because when they showed that hit from Clowney, he definitely fell on his wrist, so he could have sprained his wrist. And I don't even know what the timetable for a sprained wrist looks like, but you can't do nothing in terms of throwing a football with a sprained wrist, because everything is kind of like, the flexion of your hand and your wrist, literally everything about your arm and your hand is connected at the wrist. So you moving it. I guess your wrist, I can't even say that, because I feel like the wrist is like the equivalent of your big toe. Like, you can't do nothing without your big toe. I think you could still have a formidable hand without your thumb. There's a lot of things you probably wouldn't be able to do without your thumb. But I think you can still do a lot of stuff without the use of your thumb, right? But I don't know too many things you can do without your big toe. And I don't know about too many things you can do with your hand without your wrist. So, especially throwing a football. Let's see. All right. Got a super chat. Zoe Life, no life. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, can we use Jamin like Bruce Irvin with Seattle? But Bruce Irvin is a pass rusher. Jamin's not a pass rusher. So I don't think that's possible. Like, Jamin, I think, is solid as a blitzer, but he's not like, you can't line him up against a tackle and say win. So no, I don't think you can do that. Big Money Sonny, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Big Money Sonny writes, Lou, appreciate you, my brother, as always. Likewise, Big Money Sonny. Likewise. The feeling is mutual. Did you catch that the game? They stopped the game because the drone flew in. How did that get through the gates? NHL, Lou. 2 of them, I think. There was another one, I think, in the second half. I don't know if that's crazy to me. A drone getting in there. That's crazy to me.
New how order.
Chauncey Davis, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Chauncey, OG triple OG, writes, Montez Sweat 4-year, $98 million extension. That's what he got from the Bears, which is what we weren't willing to pay him. And I don't blame them for not wanting to pay him 4 years, $98 million. I don't think anybody that has watched Montez Sweat over the first 4 years of his career, this was year 5, I don't think there's a single soul that thought he was worth $25 million, essentially 24.5 per year. I don't think any of us would have signed up for that. And maybe there's some of you that would have. And bless your heart. But I'm not one of them. I'm not in that group. I'm not amongst that group. All right. I think that is going to be it. I don't really see any more comments. I think we can get out of here. Big win for the Ravens. Tough loss for the Bengals. And this loss sort of feels like not just a loss tonight, but maybe the loss of the season for Cincinnati. Couple that with the loss last week from at the hands of the Texans, and it's a pretty tough go of it. These last 5 days have been brutal for Bengals fans. They went from feeling like, here we go again, we got another run in us after beating Buffalo on Sunday Night Football, to then losing to the Texans, 4 days later losing to the Ravens and losing Joe Burrow for an undisclosed amount of time, dropping to 5-5 and really looking like their playoff hopes are flashing right before their very eyes. It's crazy. Big Money Sonny, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Big Money Sonny writes, respectfully, I don't see this happening, but if NHL ain't in the picture, who would you go get for? Who would you go after at quarterback? NHL, Lou. NHL.
New how order. New how order.
Well, it's hard to say because there are plenty of prospects coming out in this year's draft class. But like I always say with us, when you Rivera, you're going to finish 7-10, 8-9, somewhere in there. Last year we were 8-1. You're going to finish somewhere in that 14 to 17 range. And that's going to put you out of the, like the realistic quarterback range, unless you want to move up to get a guy. So remember back in 2021, the Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, Mac Jones, and Trevor Lawrence draft, we were right outside the striking distance for them. And I don't know which quarterback it was that they really truly liked. They liked one. They didn't love any of them. They loved the top 2 guys, right? But I don't think they liked anybody else enough to trade up for them. That they did inquire about trading up, and the price was too steep. They said they weren't willing to give up what the team was asking for in exchange for the pick that they would have needed to draft that quarterback, which meant they didn't love that quarterback enough. Because just like we saw with Carolina last year, they didn't want to give up DJ Moore, but we're talking about the quarterback position. You don't have a choice. If this is what they're asking for and this is the only way you're going to get what you're looking for, you got to pull trigger. So I don't think you're going to be in a position to get, any of the top tier quarterbacks. You're not going to lose enough games to do that. But again, why? That's a frivolous conversation for me. I don't even know why I even engaged. because you already know how I feel. So anyway, I digress. That's going to do it for me, your man Louie T, here on Thursday Night Football Overtime. Ravens get it done 34-20 over the Cincinnati Bengals. Ravens improved to 8-3 on the season. They open up a 2-game lead over everybody, really 2-game lead on everybody, because I think 6-3 is the next best record with the Steelers and the Browns, both of them already having a bye week. Ravens have not had their bye week yet. They'll have one more game, I believe, and against the Rams, if I'm not mistaken, and then they'll hit their bye week. So I think that's their next contest. I could be wrong about that. Could be the Bengals' next game is against the Rams. Whatever the case may be, they got one more game prior to their bye, and then they'll come off that bye, and then they'll have the same amount of games played as everybody else in the division. But this is a big one. It's a big one. Sweep the Bengals, you get back to 500 in the division, because you were 1-2 coming into the game in the division. If you were Baltimore, now you're 2-2 in the division, and you're 8-3, and somebody's going to lose between Pittsburgh and Cleveland. The Browns have already lost because Deshaun Watson's done for the season, so it'd be great if they could beat Pittsburgh, knock them down a rung, because the Browns are going to lose more games without Watson. So it'd be nice if they could do some of your dirty work for you. That'd be an excellent week for you. Would be the Browns beating the Steelers, because if the Steelers win, I think they're gonna stay pretty connected to you, close, nipping at your heels, and it could get to a point where you look up and late in the season, that game in Week 18 in Baltimore could be for the division. Highly unlikely. Can't see them keeping pace with you if you continue to win, but you just never know, right? Anyway, I digress. Cincinnati, this kind of feels like the beginning of the end of their season. Losing last week, quick turnaround, losing again, and then losing Joe Burrow. Again, we don't know for how long. You guys have said that the reports out there, sprained wrist. I don't know how many times we've heard of a sprained wrist before. So we don't really have, I can't fall back on any previous sprained wrist injuries to a quarterback. I can't say, well, oh yeah, I remember when Bernie Kosar had a sprained wrist back in '94. So yeah, I can't even go back into archives, or I can't be like, oh yeah, man, I remember Chad Pennington had a sprained wrist that year. Now I can't. I don't remember a quarterback. I'm pretty sure there's been plenty of quarterbacks with sprained wrists. I just don't remember any of them. So yeah, you remember the time Jay Fiedler had a sprained wrist? Nah, I can't do that. I do know this. Barry Sanders documentary on Prime, forget about it. Can't wait till that comes out. I'll be front and center for that one on November 21st. Anyway, last one, we're out of here. Big Money Sonny, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, my guy. Big Money Sonny writes, does a new coach / management finally rebuild the O-line? What if we get a new OC? High possibility. How does that affect NHO's growth? We can't say. We don't really know how that would affect his growth or not, because this is his second year with the new offense in as many years, and he's performing just fine. So we know he's capable. He won't be the first nor the last quarterback to be in the league for 3 years and have 3 different systems and 3 different coordinators. It happens a lot more frequently than we would like to admit in this league, but it definitely won't allow him to go to that next level, right? You can't be in a system for just 1 year and expect a guy to just explode, because he's still learning the nuances of the system. He's still learning the verbiage. He's still learning where everyone's supposed to be. You can't get to that next level until you're comfortable with not only your responsibility, but what everybody else is supposed to be doing. And as the quarterback, you're pretty much responsible for everybody on the field. So if he has to learn another offense next year, it's going to stunt the process of his growth and development. as far as building the offensive line is concerned, you would think that would be pretty high on the priority list. You would think, especially with what Sam has shown. This ownership group they're sold on. Again, I don't have many sources here, okay? But there's one in particular that has told me over and over again they're impressed with Sam Howell. They believe they got their quarterback. They want to build around him, and that's what they're going to look to do. And so, to me, naturally, if that's the mindset that you're going with, then the first thing you should be doing is fortifying the offensive line in front of said quarterback. If you truly want to be able to assess him and figure out, in fact, whether or not you have your quarterback of the future, you need to put resources into making sure you find out. Similar to what the Bears did, right? Not saying it was the cleanest operation, but they felt like, hey, we put weapons around you. You know, we've done what we've needed to do to fortify the offensive line. You know, we drafted Tevin Jenkins, then we turned around and we drafted the kid out of Tennessee, Wright. So we've done, enough to kind of help fortify the offensive line in front of you. We've given you weapons. Now show us what you can do. And speaking of which, it's going to be a hell of a stretch for him finishing up this season, because we're going to find out if, in fact, they're going to have the number 1 overall pick. The Panthers are going to be the worst team in football this year. They're not going to win another game. And in doing that, the Bears are going to have the number 1 overall pick for the second consecutive year. And this time, I don't think they're in a position to pass up taking the quarterback. They could do it last year because you could sell yourself on C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young don't move the needle. Let's just see what we got in Justin Fields. This year, you're like, nah, I'm good. And remember, this GM, Ryan Poles, did not take Justin Fields. This is not his guy. So I think you're going to get you could get a brand new coach there, and you could get a brand new quarterback all in the same year if you're the Bears. And we'll see what happens. Big Money Sonny, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Big Money Sonny says, do you remember when people complained that you haven't gotten to their super chat? They never understood the format. Recognize the most thorough coverage. Salutes, Lou. Where's Luck? NHO, Lou. I don't know where Luck is. And there's people that still complain about me not getting into the super chats. Because they, if you haven't been here long enough, I'm usually behind. So they super chat and they're thinking, he hasn't seen my super chat. He's not going to get to my super chat. Of course I'm going to get to the super chat. But they don't know that, right? They don't know. I appreciate you, though. You did say NHO, right?
New How Order.
Big Money Sonny, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Big Money Sonny writes, okay, my bad. Last one. Don't worry, you don't have to apologize, man. NHL, Lou. Keep that bumping in your outro like Joe Rockhead rocks. Mike Jones. Peace, Lou. NHL. We're going to hit it twice, man, on the way out.
New How Order.
If you don't know.
New How Order.
Now you know. It's NHO. Anyway, y'all get out of here. Enjoy the rest of your evening. I will be back. Hopefully, my daughter, can't go to daycare tomorrow. This has just been a janky week, man. So that's going to stunt the growth of anything. I was planning on getting some MusicHead stuff done. I got some stuff queued up that might be placed on the back burners because her monkey self don't know how to take a solid nap. And she's always up my butt, which you got to enjoy it while you got it, right? Because at some point she's going to get to, and maybe she doesn't. My oldest, she is 16 and she's still like daddy's girl, always on me. And I love it, So I don't know. Kids are different. You don't know how, each kid is going to be, but you got to enjoy it while you got it. So I'm not complaining, but damn it, man. I was looking forward to getting some work done tomorrow. Doesn't seem like it's going to happen. hopefully I'll be able to get the podcast out to you guys. If not, at a bare minimum, I should be able to get you my money picks of the week, but we'll see. Anyway, you guys know what it is. Ravens get the win 30-24 over the Bengals. They're 8-3. Bengals not only lose the game, they drop to 5-5, but they lose quarterback Joe Burrow. For how long? Don't know, but that is a big injury. Ravens had a big injury as well, losing tight end Mark Andrews potentially for the season with an ankle injury. So that's going to do it for me, your man Louie T. Until next time, you guys get out of here. God bless and good night.
LouieTeeNetwork.